This year, 4 CE, Emperor Augustus's only heir dies, and the Parthian royals are overthrown by the nobility. Welcome to the Yearly Histories, where we will highlight the major events that take place in the Common Era, year by year. Last year, we saw Emperor Augustus's only heir, Gaius Caesar, being wounded while putting down a revolt in Armenia, and Wang Mang foiling a conspiracy against him in the Han court. This year, in February, Gaius Caesar succumbed to his wounds and died. The Roman Empire was in mourning and heaped praise and accolades on his memory. But how did Augustus respond to this tragedy? With no living heirs remaining, he was forced by the circumstances to adopt his relative Tiberius and make him his new heir. As you'll remember, their relationship was not in the best standing after Tiberius went into self-imposed exile on the island of Rhodes in 6 BCE, possibly due to Augustus forcing him to divorce his wife and marry another. In 2 CE, he was ordered to return to Rome as a private citizen by Augustus after the death of Lucius Caesar. Tiberius was a capable military leader, and before he went into exile, he was able to restore a Roman ally to the throne of Armenia, receive back the standards which were lost against the Parthians at the disastrous Battle of Carrhae, and prove extremely skillful in other military roles in Pannonia and Germania. The main condition for this adoption was that Tiberius was ordered to name his nephew Germanicus as his own heir. Germanicus inherited the name Germanicus from his father, Nero Claudius Drusus, after his death, who received the title for his martial successes against the Germanic tribes. The Roman emperor wasn't done there. He clearly had qualms about Tiberius's new role, so he decided to also adopt Agrippa Postumus, the son of Augustus's longtime right-hand man, the deceased Marcus Agrippa, and Julia the Elder, the only biological child of Augustus. Due to the untimely death of Gaius Caesar, Agrippa Postumus is now the only remaining biological grandchild of Augustus. Tiberius's new role commenced with him being sent to the border regions in northern Germania along the Rhine River to head the defenses against the pesky Germanic tribes. His reputation was still overwhelmingly positive among the troops, and was received with praise and adoration. Quote, "Soldiers burst into joy at the sight of him, greeted him with enthusiasms, rushed with violence just to touch his hand, and could not restrain themselves. 'Are you with us again, great general?' 'I was with you, great general, in Armenia. I was with you in Raetia. I was rewarded by you at Vindelicia." Unquote. Tiberius was able to subdue the Germanic tribe of the Cherusci. He forced their submission and negotiated a pact, naming them Friends of the Roman People. We will see how long that can last. In matters of the state, the Roman assemblies passed the Lex Aelia Sentia by order of Emperor Augustus, which concerned the manumission or freeing of certain slaves. Some details of the new law decreed that for a manumission to be valid, the owner had to be at least 20 years old, and the slave at least 30. Slaves whose masters had punished them for criminal acts could not become Roman citizens if they were later freed. If a slave was freed under the age of 30, but was not granted full citizenship rights upon his manumission, he could be granted those full citizenship rights if he married a Roman freedwoman or free woman, and had with this woman a child who was, at the time, at least 1 year of age. In other personal matters for Augustus, his daughter, the notorious Julia the Elder, was ordered to return from her exile to live in Rhegium in disgrace. She was originally married to Augustus's right-hand man, Marcus Agrippa, but was banished years after his death when Augustus found out about her promiscuous behavior. Quote, "She also entered into a number of adulteries with such wantonness that virtually everyone in Rome, except for Augustus, was aware of her actions. He could not bring himself to believe the rumors, but in 2 BCE he was finally convinced by an investigation that uncovered her affairs with a large group of men, including various tribunes, and Iulus Antonius, the son of Mark Antony. Julia was banished from Rome and sent to Panditaria, with her mother Scribonia joining her there. The people of Rome despised the way Augustus responded to the actions of his daughter, forcing him to move her to a new location where her time in exile would be lived out in a more humane manner. For our first mention of ancient literature in the series, Nicholas of Damascus, a Greek historian and writer, wrote his Universal History spanning 144 books. These covered the history of the Assyrians, Medes, Greeks, Persians, Iberians, Celts, and biblical history. Unfortunately, most of this work has been lost to time. In the Caucasus region, the Roman client king of Armenia, Ariobarzanes II, died. His son, Artavasdes IV, succeeded to the throne. The Romans went through a lot of trouble putting down rebellions in response to Ariobarzanes II's ascension, and the capable Gaius Caesar died in the process. In Parthia, there was a change at the head of the empire. In 2 CE, we mentioned how King Phraates V made the bold move of marrying his mother Musa, which upset a number of the powerful nobles along with horrifying the Greeks and Romans. He was also the son of an Italian slave girl, which didn't make matters any better. The Parthian nobility responded by overthrowing Phraates V and Musa, forcing them to flee to Syria to escape certain death. Quote, Phraates V did not remain long in power after his marriage to his mother, an act which his subjects did not approve. In AD 4, he was driven into Syria, where he died shortly afterward. The nobles called in a prince of the Arsacid family named Orodes III, whose violent temper and great cruelty made him intolerable. Unquote. Over in China, the young Emperor Ping married the daughter of the ever-powerful Han official Wang Mang, and she became an official empress of the Han dynasty. We mentioned in 2 CE how Wang Mang began to make moves to have the emperor marry his daughter, but it is now official. In this same year, Wang Mang was blessed with the title of Superior Duke. He also invited leading intellectuals of the empire to a symposium in the capital Chang'an, which concerned the proper interpretation of classical texts, astronomy, astrology, and divination, among other subjects. Now it's time for In Memoriam, where we look back on the lives of prominent figures who died in the year. Gaius Caesar died from his wounds at the age of 23. He was promoted to the position of consul by Emperor Augustus in 1 CE, with the intent of him becoming emperor after the death of Augustus. He proved to be a capable military leader after being designated as commander in the east, working skillfully to negotiate a favorable treaty with the Parthians, placing a Roman client king on the throne of Armenia, and putting down a revolt there. His death forced Augustus to rearrange all of his plans for the future. We will leave this eventful year, 4 CE, with Augustus rearranging his entire line of succession and a new king on the Parthian throne. How will Tiberius perform in his role as Augustus's new heir? Will he be able to live long enough to take power, or will disaster strike again? If you enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe to be notified when the next iteration of the yearly histories will be released. Thanks for watching, and I will see you next year in 5 CE to continue the fascinating stories of the world of antiquity and cover its major events.